hot and dry today, but storms are on the way for the weekend. I'll walk you through the timeline and let you know if the storms will affect your weekend plans.
Tracking the drought, we have the latest update today on our widespread dry conditions. While the recent rainfall has not done enough to turn around the situation. Carjacking a Good Samaritan after crashing a stolen vehicle, a man steals the truck of someone who stopped to help. What led up to the second crash involving that stolen truck?
Our temperatures are creeping up. It feels hotter this afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Renee Chu.
And I'm Ken Smith in for Chris Lovingood. We so appreciate your time this noon hour. Well, meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner is on the WRAL weather patio with a look at how much hotter it will be this weekend and an increasing chance of storms, Elizabeth.
Exactly. We do. We have a much better chance for storms for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And so we really need it. The drought monitor comes out on Thursday mornings. And fortunately, we didn't see any change. We had some good rain this week. Of course, Tuesday, we had as much as up to 3 inches of rain in some places, but not everywhere. That helped us keep the drought from getting any worse, but it didn't help us really chip away at it any. And we're going to talk about why that is coming up. But we still have a good bit of the viewing area in that exceptional drought. That's going to be the darkest red. The bulk of the viewing area is under extreme drought, with a few counties still in moderate drought down south, where they've actually had more rain than we have in our central and northern counties. It is feeling fairly tolerable to steamy out here. I would honestly, just the way it feels to me, it's getting steamy. I guess it was just so nice yesterday. We were down in the comfy zone that I'm feeling it out here on the patio this morning. We take a live look at Pittsburgh, and you can see all those clouds out there. We do have a good bit of cloud cover, a lot of big, tall cumulus clouds. We're not likely to see any rain out of them today, but tomorrow, as well as Saturday and Sunday, we'll have a much better chance of some storms. It is already 81 with a dew point of 64. Yesterday, our dew point was in the 50s, and our temperature was still in the 70s at lunchtime. We're mainly in the low to mid 80s right now, with 79 up in Roxborough. Hour by hour, we're going to climb on up to 92 this afternoon, which is about 5 degrees hotter than it was yesterday. And then a 40% chance of rain Friday, 50 Saturday, and 50 on Sunday. Already Saturday, we have a risk for severe storms. So we're going to walk through our chances for rain. I'll show you how much we'll get and if it will affect your weekend plans coming up.
Elizabeth, thanks. And as we talk about the drought, the focus is on Falls Lake. That's where WRAL's Monica Casey is live this afternoon, where it is evident that the drought continues to get worse. Monica, the levels there much lower than usual.
They are. I mean, you can see the effects of the drought in almost any body of water you look at. But take a look at this visual over here. You can clearly see on the rocks here at Rolling View Marina where the water line should be. Drone 5 flew over Falls Lake this morning. This is the Hickory Hill boat ramp, and you can clearly see the sandbars that are usually underwater. Here at Rolling View, employees tell us if you're out on Falls Lake, no matter how often you are here, you need to be paying attention.
People that have been on the lake a long time, coming out here every weekend or whatnot, just sticking to their normal routes that they take. With the lake slowly going down, sandbars move all the time, so especially when the water's flooded and then it goes back down, all that fluctuation really changes the bottom. So that's why they're running into trouble.
While the drought is impacting lake levels, it's not impacting business here as people rent kayaks and paddleboards to get out on the water that is left. Now, both Raleigh and Durham are under water restrictions right now, and you can head over to our website to learn how you can help conserve water yourself. Live in Durham, Monica Casey, WRAL News.
New at noon, we are working to learn the name of the man who crashed a stolen car this morning and then stole a pickup truck from a driver who stopped to help. You can see right here. This happened on 1010 Road this morning. WRAL's Heidi Kirk joining us live from that area. And Heidi, you're trying to piece together what happened.
Ken, we are, and it certainly is a lot to piece together this morning. But first, I want to show you the area where we are standing. You mentioned that intersection here. This is 1010 Road. This is the area where that driver crashed that first stolen vehicle. Again, there are two. Now, take a look at your screen. This is video from Sky 5 flying over this morning and showing what that scene where we're standing looked like. Now, State Highway Patrol says a witness pulled over to help after that crash. They say the suspect then got into that witness's truck, took off and crashed the pickup truck about 10 miles away near downtown Raleigh. Now, Sky 5 also captured the scene there in downtown Raleigh, where you can see that truck flipped on its side after hitting two different cars. Now, let's rewind. We talked to someone who watched the carjacking play out.
And all of a sudden, I hear the guy scream, "He's getting in my truck." And so we see a man, probably maybe 6 foot, broad face, green shirt. He jumps into the dude's Silverado truck with the lights on, and we just hear peeling tires, and he's gone.
Really a crazy scene playing out. Now, we have heard from State Highway Patrol at this point that the driver of those two stolen cars was taken to the hospital with minor injuries. We still don't know his name, but troopers have told us that they believe that he was impaired. We'll keep checking in with them throughout the day. Heidi Kirk, WRAL News, live in Raleigh.
Now to Venezuela, where a pair of powerful earthquakes killed at least 164 people and injured nearly 1,000 others. And those numbers are expected to rise given the extensive damage across the South American country. Officials say the 7.2 and 7.5 magnitude quakes were the strongest to hit that country in more than a century. Laura Levine spoke with a Triangle resident who has family in Venezuela. Laura, has he been able to reach his loved ones?
I was able to speak with Carlos Benucci, and he tells me that in the last 5 minutes, they have been able to communicate with the last missing family member of their family. So what a sigh of relief for them. But he tells me so many others right now still holding their breath because of all of this devastation that they're seeing from their home country. I want you to take another look at this video of some of the damage that we are seeing. Most of these videos are coming from La Guaira, which is just north of the capital, Caracas. Buildings collapsing, apartments and homes flattened at this time. Now, Benucci moved to the U.S. about 5 years ago for a better life, he says, and he tells me that many of these communities impacted that we're seeing were in underserved areas built on really weak infrastructure. He says the country has already been dealing with a lot of crisis from political, economical, and now this natural disaster.
I'm devastated too. I mean, I just see a building that is super near to my home in Venezuela. I mean, I pass around for that building like a lot of times all my life, and now I just noticed that the building is completely on the ground, destroyed, and it was full of people.
Just really hard to wrap your head around. So he's actually the coordinator of a local Venezuelan organization, and he tells me that right now they are working to figure out a way to where they can get people to collect resources as well as aid to be able to send to Venezuela. As soon as we learn more finalized information and details, we will be sure to let you know so that you can help.
Yeah, just such a devastating scene. Now, we're working to learn about a police scene this morning in Smithfield. Sky 5 captured several police vehicles at the AAF Flanders Air Filtration Plant on Walpat Road. Police responded just before 5 this morning to reports of a shooting. No word yet and if shots were actually fired. Raleigh police are working to make an arrest after shooting in a parking lot earlier this morning. The WRAL breaking news tracker was at that scene on Western Boulevard near Buck Jones Road around 2:30 this morning. Police say several bullets hit a parked car just after 1 this morning. No injuries are reported.
The U.S. Senate has rejected an effort to limit President Trump's authority to take military action against Iran. In a late-night vote, the Senate blocked a resolution that would have required congressional approval for continued U.S. military action against Iran. This vote comes a day after a similar measure was passed to block Trump's war on Iran. The U.S. House passed the resolution earlier this month. The White House maintains the U.S. is no longer engaged in active hostilities with Iran. Today, the Cary Town Council will be voting on a new budget. The interim town manager says it adds 2 more positions in the finance department to help with financial oversight. This comes after Cary's former town manager, Sean Stiegel, resigned over questions about financial mismanagement. Cary's budget also includes a property tax increase. The council will meet tonight at 6:30, and WRAL will be following this.
Big news this noon hour about the Carolina Hurricanes. The team is headed to Greensboro as part of the preseason schedule. The defending Stanley Cup champs will take on the Nashville Predators September 4th at First Horizon Coliseum. Now, the Canes played their first 2 seasons in Greensboro before moving to what is now Lenovo Center for the 1999-2000 season. Details about ticket sales will be released at a later date. Now, that's not the only Triangle team that will reportedly take its best game to the Triad. NC State will reportedly play UNC's men's basketball team at the Greensboro Coliseum. The non-conference matchup is expected to take place in December, but dates are being finalized. This will mark the first non-conference meeting between the two teams in Greensboro since December 3rd, 1977.
Sounds like a couple of road trips to Greensboro. Well, you're looking live at the Deep app right now, where the professional softball team, the Carolina Blaze, will start a 3-game series. There will be a block party ahead of the game for the community, but the players are focused on their inaugural season at the DBAP. Now, the Carolina Blaze includes Anna Gold and Jayla Wright. They both played collegiate softball for Duke. The Blaze, by the way, is part of the Athletes Unlimited Softball League's inaugural 6 teams that were formed in 2025. Here's the information for tonight's game. The Blaze will play the Utah Talons tonight through Saturday. There will be that pregame citywide block party today to celebrate the Blaze's inaugural season, and those will be at EO's Athletic Club, Luna, Primrose, and Bull McCabe's at 5 p.m. Tickets are available now for $20.
Well, next at noon, a Georgia teacher indicted on sex crimes is in even more trouble while authorities revoked her bond after she'd been on house arrest since May.
Also recounting a rough landing. We take you inside a small plane that made an emergency landing in Alaska earlier this week. A first-hand account of the ordeal from one of the passengers.
And we continue to monitor our dry conditions. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner explains why the recent rain has not done enough to replenish our drinking water supply.
Coming up next, see storms moving in with WRAL's exclusive Dual Doppler 5000, sponsored by the WRAL Weather app. Download now for live radar.
Welcome back. As we look live at Lake Gaston this noon hour, you can see an overcast sky there. But, you know, any day at the coast is always pretty good when you're next to a lake. We'll appreciate that. Of course, we always thank you for watching WRAL News, available on Spectrum and the WRAL app on your TV or streaming device. Well, biology teacher indicted on nearly 30 sex crimes with students turned herself into Georgia authorities earlier this morning. Charges against Maris Nichols include first-degree improper sexual contact by an employee, sexual exploitation of children, and child molestation. According to warrants, Nichols engaged in sex with students on and off campus and assisted in recording a minor and a lewd act. She was arrested in May and put on house arrest with ankle monitors. Authorities revoked her bond after she broke curfew 38 times over the course of 27 days.
Nobody holds standards anymore. They have no morals, no respect for others. You have to think in your mind, I'm really mucking up the waters. You know what I mean? Like, kids like to talk.
According to warrants, Nichols' mother may have tried to delete evidence from a phone and attempted to get her daughter's work laptop from the high school principal. Also disturbing, Nichols' father works for the Douglas County Sheriff's Office.
An Indiana man is charged with stalking and intimidating WNBA player Sophie Cunningham. Investigators say 48-year-old Kevin Singh sent Cunningham threatening and sexually explicit messages on social media. Cunningham told investigators she first noticed his conduct online back in February. And when his behavior escalated, her team sent him a cease and desist letter. That's when they say his behavior took a violent turn.
I think it speaks to a wider issue of just exactly what women athletes have to go through. I've been a prosecutor for 20 years. We've never had that issue with a male athlete.
This incident comes after Cunningham's teammate, Caitlin Clark, was a victim of stalking and harassing by a different man from Texas. He was sentenced last year to 2.5 years in prison. Singh faces the same fate if convicted.
A midair scare forces a passenger plane to make an emergency landing. One of the pilots suffered a medical emergency mid-flight. As NBC's Aaron McGoffin explains, the co-pilot stepped in and landed the plane safely.
This morning, a terrifying scare in the sky after an Air Canada pilot suffered a mid-air medical emergency.
The pilot is incapacitated.
According to the airline, Flight 7664 took off from Newark Liberty, heading to Halifax, Nova Scotia Wednesday afternoon. When about an hour in, the captain experienced a serious medical issue and had to be removed from the cockpit, the co-pilot quickly taking over the controls.
The flight is being manned by the co-pilot.
And diverting the plane to Boston's Logan Airport, where it landed safely with 61 passengers on board. Medical crews on the ground waiting to help, taking what appears to be the pilot off the plane in a gurney.
The passengers are all okay. EMS is still on scene, giving patient care to the pilot.
Officials say the pilot was transported to the hospital for treatment, but did not disclose what they were suffering from. The passengers later deplaning unharmed. Les Abbin flew with American for more than 30 years and says pilots are prepared for this possibility.
Is this why having two pilots is absolutely necessary?
It's certainly one of the reasons. The captain may have more experience, but both of them are trained in the same simulators, and they're both very capable pilots.
We are getting a look from inside a small plane during an emergency landing in rural Alaska. Nine people were inside the plane Monday when the plane experienced engine trouble. One passenger says he heard a loud noise about 20 minutes after takeoff. Not good. Video shows those on board surviving the rough landing. Everyone was able to walk away from the plane shaken, but not physically hurt, thank goodness.
Scary scene right there.
Yeah, rough landing there, but no rough weather to speak of. Looking beautiful out there. Today, though, is going to start to feel a little muggier.
Yeah, let's get outside and check the WRAL weather patio with meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner. You're tracking how this is going to shape up for the rest of the weekend.
That's right. So it doesn't feel a lot more muggy than it does yesterday, but it's enough that I can tell the difference. And it will be hotter this afternoon. But right now, here on the patio, we've got a good bit of cloud cover, and that's keeping the sun from, just beating down on us. It doesn't feel too bad out right now. We are looking at hotter temperatures than yesterday with low to mid 90s, and then we'll be in the mid to upper 90s starting tomorrow. We do have rain in our forecast for the weekend, but it's predictable for the most part. Afternoon and evening thunderstorms start right around or just after lunchtime and then die out after sunset. So that's a real typical summer pattern for us. We take a look behind me here at the gardens. It's nice and quiet. I've got it all to myself. Nobody out here. 81 degrees is our current temperature, and our dew point 64. And yesterday our dew point was about 10 degrees below that. So it did feel more refreshing yesterday than it does today, but it's not terrible. If it was 74, oof, it would really feel pretty miserable out here, and it doesn't. 85 in Holly Springs and in Durham. It's 81 in Morrisville, as well as Garner, Knightdale, and Rollsville. Around town this afternoon, our highs climb back up into the low to mid 90s, but we may not see that until later on because of the cloud cover that we're seeing. Even though we're seeing all these big puffy cumulus clouds, our chance for rain today is pretty minimal, and I didn't see anything popping up yet on the radar. High pressure is still in control of our weather, still trying to feed in some fairly dry air for today, but by the time we get to like late today, tonight, and tomorrow, you can see how the green shifts eastward. That's all the humidity, and you can watch it on the muggy meter looking at tolerable for today, but for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, we're at steamy, maybe even pushing tropical by Sunday. So we're just kind of back at it in terms of our real summer pattern starting tomorrow. Our normal high is 89. We were in the mid 80s yesterday, which was lovely. Low 90s today, mid 90s Friday and Saturday. We will have a heat index to go along with that, so it is going to feel like triple digits. However, it may not quite reach that 105 to 106 threshold for a heat advisory. We'll keep our eye on it. Definitely looks like it's going to stay hot. What we saw yesterday was just a bit of a unicorn. After that, really all the way through the 4th of July holiday, we have a good chance of above average temperatures. Of course, we see an increasing chance for rain too, starting tomorrow, as well as Saturday and Sunday. On Saturday, Saturday, we actually have the risk for some severe storms. It's almost a statewide level 1 risk, which means there could be just a few cells that produce some wind damage. I'll show you the outline, and we're going to talk about the timeline for storms. But just a quick overview for your weekend plans. It is going to be hot and humid, so in the morning is going to be the best time to be outside. It'll be hot, humid, and we'll be dealing with afternoon storms Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Behind this system, we're going to see temperatures dropping a little bit as we get into Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. We'll talk more about how much rain is headed our way this weekend coming up.
Elizabeth, thanks. Avoiding wedding scams next at noon. From lost money to missing photos, 5 on Your Side takes a deeper look at the issues plaguing the wedding industry.
Also, zipping through security, the new feature for Android users and how it will help them get through TSA faster. Brides and grooms beware. After a series of high-profile failures left North Carolina couples out thousands of dollars, 5 on Your Side's Keely Arthur examines whether the wedding industry has become the new Wild Wild West. Here's a preview of her story airing tonight on WRAL.
A wedding can cost as much as a new car or the down payment on a new home. Yet wedding photographers, much like the rest of the industry, face far less scrutiny than other businesses trusted with tens of thousands of your consumer dollars. In the past year, I've covered a venue that kept a couple's deposit after a groom died months before the wedding, and a photography company accused of withholding from more than 200 couples with losses nearing $1 million.
Does the wedding industry need more regulation? Yes, 100%. It is so saturated and so easy to enter the market when you have nothing to show for it.
That's wedding planner Haynes Jones, owner of Significant Events. She explains, unlike industries such as insurance, banking, or real estate, there's no dedicated state regulator overseeing wedding vendors. And because weddings often require large deposits months or even years in advance, couples can be especially vulnerable when businesses fail. Coming up tonight on WRAL News at 6, I'm going to tell you about a bride you haven't heard from and how I helped resolve her situation. Plus, the consumer advice any family needs to know when planning a wedding. Keely Arthur, 5 on Your Side.
Passing through airport security checkpoints is about to get easier for Android phone owners. The TSA is now accepting pre-check touchless IDs stored in Google Wallet. It's available at about 65 airports. Touchless ID uses facial recognition at checkpoints, so people don't have to present a physical ID. The U.S. Mint is making sure to celebrate America's 250th birthday with a limited edition coin. It's releasing 250,000 semi-quincentennial quarters. On the front is Thomas Jefferson, who wrote the Declaration of Independence and served as our 3rd president. On the back, there's a ringing Liberty Bell with its signature crack. These quarters will be put into circulation in time for the 4th of July.
You know, on days like today, people all across the triangle are looking for ways to cool off, right? Well, that includes local swimming pools. Drowning is a leading cause of preventable death, especially for young children. The world's largest swimming lesson aims to reduce those statistics. Raleigh Parks hosted an event this morning at a Longview Pool on Bertie Drive. Special guests, including members of NC State Wolfpack swim team, as well as Olympic gold medalist Catherine Burkhoff.
It's really important to teach kids how to swim at a young age and be comfortable around the water, because especially somewhere like North Carolina in the summer, you're going to need to be around the water if you're going to be outside. And I think if you don't know how to swim, you're putting your life at risk. So teaching these kids how to swim at a really young age is super important.
Similar events are taking place today at other Wake County pools.
A drop in the bucket. No improvement this week in our widespread drought. Elizabeth explains why the recent rainfall we've had was not enough to turn things around.
Also, youth pastor charged. Nearly 20 years after a woman died on a hiking trail, investigators charging her husband, the clue that led to his indictment.
Live Live from WRAL News Headquarters in Raleigh, your #1 source for local news. WRAL News, coverage you can count on.
Well, you know, today's drought monitor report reveals no change in conditions here in North Carolina.
We've been in a drought since the fall. Let's bring in meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner to dig a little deeper into the newest numbers and what they mean. Elizabeth, parts of our viewing area saw some good measurable rain Tuesday. Why didn't that move the needle?
It's just that we are so far behind. The drought started in September, and every month except for December, between then and June, we've seen a deficit. In some cases, really big deficits. We tend to see the wettest part of the year starting around December and lasting up until around May. And you can see here what our deficit was. In March, it was 2.5 inches. It was almost 2 3/4 of an inch in April, and it was almost 2 inches in May. And that's on top of the deficit that started way back in September. Now, we've done well in June. We've had officially at RDU, which is where we're keeping these numbers, we've had almost 3 inches of rain. But of course, we're so far behind that we just, the 3 inches of rain that we've seen in June just don't really make a dent in it. It did keep the drought monitor from getting any worse, but it certainly didn't help us. We still need 13 to 15 inches to end the drought in a month.
So this started way back in the fall. Now we're in the summer, and we do get rain in the summer, but why is it so hard to get out of a drought during the summer months?
So we saw rain in the last week in 2 different ways. This is a look at our percent of normal rainfall. And you can see in some places we've seen as little as 59%, but then just to the south of our viewing area, it's been as much as 102%. That's because we can see rain in so many different ways. So for one, yesterday we ended up with, of course, Tuesday, we saw pockets of really heavy rain in some places. So we ended up there in some of our northeastern counties with as much as 3 inches, a few pockets around Durham, Raleigh, and over toward Wilson as much as 2 inches. But in some places it was a trace to a 1/2 inch or just 3/4 of an inch, because in the summertime those cells are just small and they're not widespread. But if you remember last Thursday, we had the remnants of a tropical system, and that brought us a nice blanket of rain across the viewing area. And to be honest with you, to get out of this drought, it may take a tropical system or multiple tropical systems before we can get out of this.
All right, Elizabeth, we appreciate that. And as Elizabeth mentioned a few minutes ago, with the chances for hit or miss storms this weekend, tracking those storms on radar is key for doing outdoor activities. Meteorologist Grant Skinner explains how the Doppler 5000 works and why it will be a great resource for all of us.
Yeah, the Doppler 5000 will be a great resource to use throughout the summertime. Let's talk a little bit about how radar works and then some different tools you can use in the WRAL weather app, including Dual Doppler 5000. So a radar transmits a signal out. It bounces off the cloud or rain or whatever object is in the sky, and then the radar listens for the signal to echo back. The radar echo is what we're looking out for, and that can help determine the shape and location of whatever object that the signal has picked up. So we're trying to watch that closely to determine where the rain is, where the precipitation is, or any sort of precipitation, or any objects are out in the distance. This is a view of national radar. You can see the legend here indicating that this is rain, and those heavier pockets of rain, the areas of red you typically see on radar, that's, again, more precipitation popping up there because we have more echoes bouncing back towards the radar. In the WRAL weather app, if you're on the home page, you just click the radar screen here. Make sure to click allow for it to set your location to wherever you are, and then you can check and see where the rain is relative to your current location. You can see where Dual Doppler 5000 is in southeastern Wake County. It's the only dual pole radar in Wake County that updates every single minute. I use the app even to track rain because the National Weather Service radar just isn't as fast. So make sure you have Dual Doppler 5000 on your phone. National and future radar is also in the app, so you can track where the rain is if you are changing locations, like going on vacation, and where the rain will move over time. Plus, we have the radar lightning and alerts feature. You want to know where alerts are anywhere around the country, including where lightning is as well, and where those showers and storms are located. You can have that all in the WRAL weather app. Again, Dual Doppler 5000 and National Radar all in the app for you.
happening now here in the WRAL Live Center. We're following a big update on an investigation that we've been following over the span of more than 10 years now. Robeson County Sheriff Bernice Wilkins made an announcement that they've made an arrest in the case and disappearance from back in 2015 of Sarah Graham. This photo showing a woman being placed into police custody here. And in this post, he says more details will be released soon. But again, we're talking about the disappearance of Sarah Graham, who went missing in Robeson County when she was just 18 back in 2015. She wasn't declared dead until June 1st of this year. The sheriff's office said that the arrest was made in now homicide investigation. And again, they said that more details would be released. But she was last seen around 6:30 a.m. at her home on Centerville Church Road in Fairmount back in February of 2015. She never arrived back home. So, of course, again, a big update that we're following. As soon as we learn who this person is that they've arrested, we'll let you know.
All right, our new news continues now, all about nature. Parents of a toddler are on a journey from here to become the youngest ever to visit all national parks, why they feel it's important to make these memories in her early years.
Aging loved ones, how to navigate the challenges of physical decline, diminishing independence, and emotional challenges. We'll have a live guest to talk about an important community resource to help you and your family through this stage. And remember, you can watch WRAL News live anytime on WRAL.com or the WRAL app on your streaming device.
We were talking to the ranger, and that ranger suggested that this has never been done before.
What began as a couple's tradition has taken on a life of its own. At just 16 months old, Aria has already seen more national parks than most people will visit in a lifetime. Ashke and Aprita are out to set a new record, not for themselves, but for their daughter. They want her to become the youngest person ever to visit every single national park, all 63 of them.
We think of kids as fragile little beings, but they are pretty resilient. I think we give them less credit than they are supposed to get.
An ambitious goal, but they're well on their way. 34 and counting. They've got the junior badges to show.
She's very young to understand the importance of nature right now, but she is not very young to love nature.
And while the photos and memories are precious, it's not always smooth sailing. Traveling with a toddler, of course, comes with its challenges.
Anything that you plan won't go as a schedule because she's not an adult, right? She's a kid. So having to plan and being flexible in your mind, I think those were the challenges.
So what's next on the schedule?
Alaska's
weather permitting, they'll knock out 7 more at the last frontier. But they tell me, record or not, it's about the memories they're making as a family.
Seeing the experience from their eyes, I mean, we can just feel it by their expressions and how they're behaving. I would say, I mean, I am reliving all those moments which we spend in the national parks again with, from her eyes.
Yeah, it's all about memorable moments. So in 2023, 3-year-old Journey Castillo set the record for the youngest person to visit all 63 U.S. national parks. Her first visit to a park was when she was just 6 months old. Now, by the time she was 10 months old, she'd already visited 20 parks, with some of her first steps happening on a hike. How cool is that?
See, it ain't so. It's not smooth traveling with a toddler. And Ken, you've got 4 of them.
Listen, it's a journey and an adventure at the same time.
Oh, and national parks, though, are so beautiful. I waited until Elsa was older until he could take it. And just this year, we went to 5 of them in Utah, the Big 5 in Utah. Highly recommend. Yeah. Well, by the year 2030, 1 in 5 local residents will be age 65 or older. After the break, how a free event will help members of that age group remain safe, comfortable, and independent while giving their families peace of mind.
Also, rising temperatures, high heat and humidity headed our way this weekend. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner will join us again from the WRAL weather patio with a temperature that also includes a level 1 risk of storms.
Wake County reports that by the year 2030, nearly 1 in 5 residents will be age 65 or older. As our community continues to age, more families are looking for ways to help loved ones remain safe, independent, and comfortable in the homes they love. This weekend, a new free community event aims to connect seniors, caregivers, and families with resources that can help make that possible. And joining us today is Del Scheitler. He's the founder and CEO of Aging in Place North Carolina and the organizer behind this Saturday's Well Lived NC Expo. Before we talk about the event, though, Del, please tell us about Aging in North Carolina, this organization. It's very new.
Yeah, so Aging in Place North Carolina, what we do is we help seniors and individuals with mobility issues or accessibility needs. We help them keep safe and comfortable in their homes. We do that because of two factors. Number one, people are aging and they don't want to leave their homes. And number two, homes are not designed to age well in. So we come in, we do home assessments, our construction team does the modifications, and then we're also able to continue the maintenance on the home as well.
Yeah, there are a lot of things to consider, safety things to consider in homes if people want to stay in their homes. Are you seeing more of that people would prefer to stay in their homes rather than moving to assisted living or senior communities?
The cost of senior communities are going up. Just moving in general, just that transition costs a lot. It's cost prohibitive for a lot of folks. And then most importantly, people just want to stay where they're most comfortable. And unfortunately, like I said, homes are not built for that. But with the right training, like my team has, we're certified aging in place specialists. We're able to come in, identify the risk, and make the proper improvements.
And you have a personal connection to this, right? What inspired you to start Aging in North Carolina?
Yeah, well, I'm part of that sandwich generation. I have a very active 3-year-old that keeps my wife and I on our toes. We're always worried about safety. And then I have a mom in her 80s, and I have an older brother with developmental disabilities. So I think I'm dealing with aging on all spectrums. And then last year my mom fell and she broke her hip, and that's at 80, that's not an easy thing to overcome. So surgery, rehabilitation, in rehabilitation, I spent every day in there advocating for her best care, making sure she was taken care of. And then at night when she was sleeping, in between nurses coming in for medications, I sat there and I thought, what could I have done differently? What could I have done to be more proactive? And through my research, I realized there are great resources locally around here, and I wanted to be a part of that. So I wanted to be on that side of the home service business.
But you do get to a certain point in life, when your parents are aging, and, my father is also in his 80s. What a reversal of roles, right? Whereas the adult child, you are now caring for.
That's right. And a lot of our customers are actually the adult child. So I am my best customer.
Well, we want to let you know about this free community event called Well Lived NC Expo. Really quickly, talk about what people can expect here and how they can find out about resources.
Yep. So this area is wonderful. It has a lot of great home service businesses and a lot of just caring individuals and caring organizations. So we put 40 of them together. We're having a free community event at Net Sports, which is a great venue for expos and conferences, not just recreational sports. So it's free and open to the public. We'll have pickleball, line dancing, you name it. It's going to be a fun event.
All right, and it's Saturday, June 27th from 1 to 5 at Net Sports in Morrisville. Admission is free. Yeah. Del, thank you so much for talking with us about Aging in Place, and certainly hope that seniors, if they see this would be a great social event. We worry about isolation.
Seniors
loneliness.
And caregivers, yeah.
Exactly, perfect for families. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, Ken?
Conversation. So listen, here's a live look at Lake Gaston. You see some overcast skies, but let's get outside to the WRAL weather patio, check in once again with meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner. Boy, it started out as a comfortable morning, but boy, did it warm up.
If the sun is beating down on you, it really feels hot. But we're looking at some cloud cover over us right now. Some of those clouds are, looking like cumulus clouds that have some dark bottoms. And so it looks like, maybe there'd be a sprinkle. There's nothing showing up yet. And of course, the event that's going to happen over the weekend, we're going to see this front that's back to our west around St. Louis and Chicago. That's going to stall in our vicinity. There's going to be a lot of moisture in place. It's going to be a lot more humid. You can see some cloud cover that's developed. So we have a weak disturbance that's kind of cruising across North Carolina. There's no rain with that. I just looked at the radar, but it definitely looks like we could have a few sprinkles at some point today. A much better chance Friday, Saturday, and Sunday as the front gets closer to us. 95 Friday, 96 Saturday, and then Sunday, maybe a couple of degrees cooler, not enough to make a huge difference. So that next weather maker is that cold front back to the west. It'll interact with the humidity, the moisture that'll start to stream in a lot more a lot more of it in the next 24 hours or so. This is 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. Looking at the increase in some cloud cover, maybe a sprinkle or two around lunchtime, but it's after lunchtime that a lot of the storms get cranked up, and then they're mainly over right around sunset. So if you're traveling tomorrow, a lot of people take the entire week of 4th of July off. So if you have Friday travel this week, it could be extra tricky with those thunderstorms. This is Saturday morning, a good bit of cloud cover, but that's not going to stop storms from developing again right after lunchtime and continuing into the evening until around sunset. And then it looks like a lot of that dies out. Expect the same thing again on Sunday. We do have a level 1 risk for severe storms on Saturday, but not Friday or Sunday yet. On Saturday, there could be 1 or 2 storms that produce some wind damage. And so we'll be on the lookout for that. And you may want to download your WRAL weather app and set the alerts to come on if you have a severe thunderstorm warning or tornado headed your way. Not that I think that there's going to be tornadoes, but you want those alerts to be set. 40% chance Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, both a 50% chance. Unfortunately, when we look at the rainfall potential, it doesn't look great. Probably somewhere between 1/4 of an inch to 1/2 an inch. And notice how patchy it is kind of across the state. There are a couple of pockets there where it's blue, where it might be more like 1/2 an inch, but that's just the nature of thunderstorms as we were talking about before. Well, check the drought monitor one more time. Of course, Thursday mornings are when it came out. If you haven't seen it yet, there's no change from last week. We still have part of our viewing area north of Raleigh and the exceptional drought, which is the highest level. A lot of our viewing area under extreme drought, and some of the counties in the south under severe drought, where we've seen more rain than other parts of the area. Expected to be really hot Friday and Saturday, and then turning hot again toward the end of next week. So be ready for that. Stay with us. We'll be right back with your top stories.
Recent rain, including heavy downpours, did little to help our drought all across North Carolina, and there's no change in conditions according to the new drought monitor out today, and it shows in lake levels especially. Today, Drone 5 flew over Falls Lake, Raleigh's primary drinking water source. Sandbars that are typically underwater are exposed. Now, because of the drought, both Raleigh and Durham have water restrictions in place.
Troopers have not identified the man who crashed a stolen car, then stole a pickup truck from a driver who stopped to help. This all played out on 1010 Road near Old Stage Road in Raleigh this morning. Highway Patrol says after the man stole that truck, he crashed about 10 miles away near downtown. And that driver also hit 2 cars in the process. He is in the hospital with minor injuries. Troopers suspect he was impaired.
Well, tonight, Carytown Council will vote on a new budget. It includes a property tax increase. Now, the interim town manager says it also adds 2 more positions in the finance department to help with oversight. This comes after Cary's former town manager resigned over questions about financial mismanagement. WRAL will be at tonight's meeting that starts at 6:30. Our pet of the day comes to us from the SPCA of Wake County. Meet Claudia. This 4-year-old girl is really sweet, and people has done well with other cats as well. Claudia is a big fan of crunchy treats. She's nervous here at the shelter, but still a very affectionate girl. Claudia's adoption fee is $65, which includes her spay and microchip vaccines and other wellness care. Contact the SPCA of Wake County if you're interested in Claudia.
Coming up today on WRAL News at 4, parking deck burden. A location in Raleigh near the Marbles Kids Museum could soon close. How it would impact free parking and why families say this could deter them from going downtown.
You know, we spend a lot of time at Marbles Museum, so I'll be very interested in this story.
They make play so fun and exciting for kids, and kids just get burnt out after after they play.
Well
a day at Marbles is, does that. NBC News Daily is next on WRAL, your next local news update in 30 minutes.
Of course, you can get breaking news and updates anytime with our WRAL News app. Have a great day.
Keep watching WRAL News over the air Channel 34 and Spectrum Channel 1257.